The date, it's November 11th, 2012. The San Francisco 49ers are hosting the St. Louis Rams in an NFC West division battle. Early on in the game, starting quarterback for the 49ers, Alex Smith, goes out with a concussion. In comes second-year backup, Colin Kaepernick out of Nevada. The game ends up being a 24-24 tie, and the 49ers fall to 6-2-1. Now, Alex Smith, by next Monday night, the 19th, when the 49ers hosted the NFL's best defense in the Chicago Bears, a defense that not only forces turnovers, but scores with them, Alex Smith was not clear of his concussion symptoms. So Colin Kaepernick again took to the field in his first NFL start. All he did was throw for 243 yards and 2 touchdowns against one of the best defenses in the league. The 49ers defense helped him, getting after Jay Cutler for the Bears. Aldon Smith records 5.5 sacks himself, and the ultimate final would be 32-7 for San Francisco. Now the next week, that Sunday, the 49ers will travel to New Orleans to take on the Saints in a rematch of the NFC Divisional Playoffs from last year. Alex Smith at this point is now healthy and he's been cleared and he can start. But Jim Harbaugh makes one of the boldest moves of his young coaching career in the NFL and decides to bench Alex Smith for his backup, Colin Kaepernick, the guy who he drafted in the second round last year. And it turns out Jim Harbaugh made a great choice. But was it the right choice? The statistics say that definitely the best decision was made by Jim Harbaugh in taking Colin Kaepernick to be his quarterback instead of Alex Smith. Alex Smith at the time was completing a league best 70.2% of his passes for 13 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Not great numbers, but then again ones that are very, very good and numbers that can help you win in the NFL. But a lot of people are questioning if down the stretch, was it the right choice to go with Colin Kaepernick instead of Alex Smith? Because, Alex Smith, he won you a playoff game last year against the Saints, got you to the doorstep of the Super Bowl, a couple of fumbles by teammate Kyle Williams, the only thing that kept him from advancing to the big game. It's a great start to this year. They were 6-2 before the game against St. Louis. Was it the best choice to make? I will have to say that Jim Harbaugh absolutely made the right choice. And I've got several reasons for it. Number one, just break down the two quarterbacks' games. Alex Smith is a run-of-the-mill quarterback. He's probably the best example of a run-of-the-mill quarterback in terms of his skill level. He's a guy that when the pieces are around him, he can succeed because the pressure's off him and he doesn't feel like he has to do much of anything. You look at some of the games that they've won this year against, say, the New York Jets, 134 yards passing. Against the Arizona Cardinals, he completed all but one pass, which is still very impressive. But Arizona, after winning 4 in a row to start the season, completely fell in the shitter. You look at the game against the Packers in Week 1. They beat the last year's best NFL team, the team that went 15-1. They went into Green Bay and beat them 30-22. He only threw for 191 yards on the day. So he's a guy that when the pieces are around him and everything's running smoothly on every other facet of the game, he will play well. And he still has a habit of not playing well. Last year in the NFC Championship game against the Giants, only one pass was completed to a wide receiver in that game. One pass in 4.5 quarters, counting overtime. Colin Kaepernick has since come in. He's led the Niners to a 5-2 record, completing, they both attempted this season, him and Alex Smith, 218 passes. But Kaepernick's completion percentage is 62.4, which is pretty good considering, he hasn't had much experience at all prior to this year, and he's pretty much just come in. And he's been the reason that the 49ers offense has played well lately. I mean, you look at some of the games that they've played. They put up 27 on Miami, 41 on New England, 27 on Arizona. Not bad at all. He's thrown for more yards than Alex Smith on fewer completions, 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Now, Alex Smith's pass rating may be higher, but the ESPN QBR, which is a way to tell what a quarterback's rating is by what he does entirely to help his team succeed, which is measured, by everything, passing, running, you name it. On a scale of 1 to 100, Kaepernick's QBR is over 6 points higher. So if you base it on that, Kaepernick's had a better year. But again, if you continue to break down the two quarterbacks, there's only one advantage that Alex Smith has, and that's experience. I think Kaepernick accuracy will come with experience because he's still not used to seeing every NFL defense. But the way he's played now, he's just got a tremendous upside. He does. I don't think Alex Smith will be a quarterback on the 49ers roster on opening day next season. In fact, I think that in March he'll probably be gone. I mean, he did sign a contract to come back prior to this year. But I honestly don't think that from the moment that Harbaugh drafted Kaepernick that he felt that Alex Smith would be his quarterback. I don't think he intended or predicted that the Niners would go 13-3 and fall within a game of the Super Bowl last year. I think he felt that, he's like, the team just coming off a 6-10 year. I mean, they had some inadequacies of coaching with Mike Singletary and the one game coached by Jim Tom Sola. I think he felt that, this team has talent, but was still a ways away from really doing anything. And now you look at the year they had in 2011, 13-3, a 7-win swing, which saw them get the best turnover differential and the second best defense in the NFL in terms of points and fourth in yards. I don't think Harbaugh anticipated that. I seriously don't think he thought Alex Smith would come in. And I think that made the decision to switch to Colin Kaepernick that much tougher. I think that seriously made the decision a lot tougher to switch to Kaepernick because of the way Alex Smith was playing. But if he didn't do it then, when was he going to do it? When Colin Kaepernick's contract as a rookie expired and he had to go somewhere else, or he was going to go somewhere else. So honestly, there really was no smooth way to make a transition from Alex Smith to Colin Kaepernick. But Jim Harbaugh handled it about as well as you can. I mean, the NFL, there's an adage, you can't lose your job to an injury. If Alex Smith doesn't have a concussion, maybe he still is the starter. But I think Harbaugh used that as, as a way to get Colin Kaepernick the job. I mean, Colin Kaepernick brings extra dimensions to the quarterback position that Alex Smith doesn't. Because let me break down the 49ers. If you want to win championships with the defense that they have, the mentality they have as a team, defense first and run the football. If you're not going to have that many great weapons on the outside, and I know Manningham was lost to the year with the torn ACL, and I know Randy Moss is good, but he's old, I know Crabtree's good, but he's still inexperienced and not living up to his full potential yet. I know you've got a good running back in Frank Gore, but how many more great years does he have in him? And the 49ers run block offensive line may be the best in the league, but pass blocking, they're not so good at defending, at the passing, protecting the quarterbacks. They're not. So think of it from my point of view. They're a team that has a lot of potential. They're a team that is taking advantage of their potential, really working to chisel away and becoming a really well-rounded team. If you're not going to have weapons or the big-time weapons on the edge, like say even a Ben Roethlisberger has, a Tom Brady, a Peyton Manning, even Andrew Luck and Robert Griffin have better weapons than the Niners do. You have to be able to have a quarterback that is multidimensional, that can make plays out of nothing, that can make tougher throws, that has a stronger arm. You need those kind of quarterbacks. And Alex Smith is not a quarterback that you honestly say, hey, we've got no weapons on offense, but you're going to have to win the game yourself. Good luck. He's not a quarterback that can do that. If the 49ers defense was even just a small half step below what they were in 2011 when they played the Saints in the playoffs. They'd have lost that game. Because the turnovers that the Saints gave to the 49ers, forcing 5 in that game, this Niners defense did. If they don't force maybe 2 of those turnovers, Niners don't win that game. The Saints almost pulled it out, and Alex Smith still had to win the game. It's probably the best performance he ever had as a quarterback, and it's the peak performance you're ever going to get out of him. So honestly, looking at it all now, with the fact that you have not a whole lot of offensive talent on the outside, the fact that your pass blocking is moderate at best, it's mediocre at best, and you have a defense that sometimes is going to play offenses that can put up 20, 22 in a game, you need a quarterback that can make some plays when nothing is there. Alex Smith does not provide that for you. Colin Kaepernick does. So the final answer as to whether Jim Harbaugh made the right decision to bench Alex Smith in favor of Colin Kaepernick, the answer is yes.